Hot Seat. This is this monthly show where you get to get on and listen to a whole bunch of industry pros talk about stuff that should be important to you. My name is Brad Hubbard. If you don't know me, I've been with Mark Systems now for about 8.5 years. Prior to that, spent about 25 years in the family home building business. So I always tell people that, just, I don't know why, just so you know, I'm not just a good looking computer nerd, but I'm one who knows a thing or two about home building. So anyway, if you have not been on a home building hot seat before, what this really is, it's kind of unscripted. I have some questions that we get some very knowledgeable people around the table. A lot of times there's one person in the hot seat. Today, we've got 4 people in the hot seat, which makes me feel like I'm in it, but that's all right. But we just basically kind of discuss stuff. It's completely unscripted other than the questions I start with. But more importantly than that, we want you asking questions. So you'll see I have screens up on all over the place looking. I keep like questions over here. So if you have them, comments, questions, anything as we move along, please, please, please put something in. I like to read them out, have the folks here on the panel answer your questions too. So anyway, enough of that. Let's kind of get into what this episode is about. And I'm on the professional services team here at Mark Systems. We have 4 or 5 of us who do consulting with home builders all across North America. And one of the things we've been talking about more recently is really the trade portal out there. Mark Systems users use the, we call the IDK or the Internet Toolkit for their trades to go out there, but not all builders are using it for their trades or yet. And I brought some people on here that, might tell you that there's some good use on it, but I wanted you to hear from them, because if I were you, I'd be sitting there going, yeah, sure, the software guy is telling me get more people on the software. Let's see if that's true. And we're going to have these people talk a little bit about kind of, how they're doing it too. So I want to start first by having them each introduce themselves. And I'm going to have a quick poll for you all. So I'm going to kind of start around here, and I'm going to just name them out as I have them listed here in no particular order. But I'm going to start with Christopher Vaughn. He's Executive Vice President of Operations for Esperanza Homes. Christopher, if you don't mind just saying hi to everybody, maybe give them building area, size of homes, how many homes you have going on at any one time.
I'm Christopher Vaughn. I'm with Esperanza Homes. We build in South Texas, McAllen, Brownsville, and Laredo. Our average floor plan is about 2,800 square feet. Going to close about 800 this year. And I started out in the field and then was in purchasing, and now have operations. So we've been on ECI for about 8 years now.
All right. Thank you very much. Thanks for being part of this too. And I know you have to go at 3:45. So folks, if you have questions for Christopher as we go along, get them in before quarter of the next hour, because he does have another appointment and fit us in. So thank you for that. Next up, Lizzie Craig. Lizzie is Central Purchasing Systems Manager for Holiday Homes. I think it was like there was another title there with BI or Business Intelligence or something. I'll let you want to say hi to everybody, let them know about your company, how many homes you're building, etc.
Okay. Definitely a long title. But for the gist of it, it's I'm the main person for the Mark Systems system for our entire company. So Holiday Builders, we're out of Florida. We actually was just counting. I think we're hitting 19 counties in the state of Florida. And we're definitely 1,000+ builder. Obviously using the system. And I actually think I have to double check my dates. I might be hitting a 10-year here with Mark Systems.
Ooh, look at that. You've been here longer than me. My goodness. Good. Definitely got some experience on that. Thank you so much for being part of this. And I know your experience is going to be great here too. So let's see, moving along. Josh McMahon, President of McMahon Custom Homes. Josh, thanks for being part of this. You want to say hi to everybody and tell them a little bit about you and your business?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Josh McMahon, President, McMahon Custom Homes. I have production home building experience in my background, where I used ITK for probably 7 or 8 years. And then moving into the custom side, I chose to stay with ECI and move to Build Tools, which is just more of a custom home builder program. The vision for the business is 4 to 6 homes a year. We're currently working on 7 homes through pre-construction and a couple of homes in the field. So kind of a little bit more than what we wanted to be, but there's some specs in there. So a little bit of specs and custom homes depending on the market conditions and what makes the most sense for the business.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. I mean, it's a newer venture for you. It's exciting too. You have a podcast too. Is that up and running yet, or can I say
It's,
that?
it's not up and running yet. I still pay for it every month. So 3 years worth of podcast episodes are out there. Should you want to listen to me for any longer than this 1 hour?
Very good. All right. Sorry. Didn't know if you were up on that other one. I knew you were working on one, but thanks obviously for being part of this. Always look forward to having you on here too. And Susanna Carney, Systems Administrator for Chesapeake Homes. Susanna, thank you for joining in here on this too. If you'd like to let everybody know who you are and a little bit about your company.
My name is Susanna Carney. I've worked with Chesapeake Homes and its affiliated companies for the past 26 years or so in various different capacities and roles. My previous role, I was controller for Chesapeake Homes, and then, decided that I wanted to kind of switch my career path and deal more with data and systems and things like that. So I am now the, business BI developer and systems administrator. So I help find efficiencies, build reports, coordinate ITK training like we did last week with Brad and his team. And, kind of assist in any way I can to help make sure that we're harvesting the absolute most out of Mark Systems and ITK. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being. And how many homes a year did you say? And I'm sorry if I missed it.
Gosh, I think we're going to deliver over 500. We're budgeted for like 581 in 2026.
Okay, great. Thank you. Lots of experience too. Yes, it was so nice you had me down. It was tough being on Virginia, Virginia Beach. Just tough. It's tough life, folks. Tough on the road. So, real quick before we get down, I wanted to I'm sorry.
Someone's got to live it.
Yeah, how about it? I know it's tough. Real quick, I just want to do 2 poll questions for those of you out there. It's just interaction. I can't see individual stuff. First question is, do you use a trade portal at all with your company? If it's ITK or something like that. I'm trying to see what the audience view is. Hopefully it's out here. And I'll have you go through this. We got about 61% voted, so I'll let this up here for a few seconds. And it's, do you use it a little bit or not at all? All right, I think we got 79% voted. Let's give 5 more seconds on this. 3, 2, 1. Okay, 85, 15% of you. Let's share this out so we can all see. And I don't know why this isn't showing up on mine. I think I got to pull this up here. That's why. All right, so majority of you are using this, so thank you very much. 11% not at all, and 7% a little bit. Okay, that's pretty normal from what we see. Fair enough. So now the second question kind of builds on that one. All right, now that you have it out, I would say, what percentage of your trades are actually active on your portal, if you happen to know? So. Let's see, while we're waiting here, I'm going to say, let me ask Lizzie, what do you think? I don't know if you can see the poll in progress, if you're seeing the response or not, hopefully not, but what do you think is going to be the highest percentage here?
The highest percentage?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which one do you think is going to be most?
I would hope that most are within the 51 to 75.
Okay. All right.
If not more, but yeah, at least that.
All right, Christopher, what do you think?
I'd hope the same. I feel like 51 to 75.
All right, Susanna?
Agree. I would hope that it's at least 51 to 75. I'd love to see 76 to 100, but.
All right. Josh, I guess I might as well ask you too. You're here.
I feel like it'll be 51 to 75, but would love to see 76 to 100 as well.
All right, so we got 74% voted. I'm going to give 5 more seconds. Don't let their answers sway you at all, because it can be whatever you want. There's no right answers here, folks. There's no wrong. Well, in the software world, we know what the right answers are. But okay. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and close and go ahead and share this, and let's see how your predictions look. Yeah, not too bad. Okay, it's kind of across the board there for the most part. Thankfully, we're seeing what 66%, if I'm doing my math right, from that 51%. So you guys look like you know what you're talking about. All right, so thank you for that. Appreciate it. Let's jump into the questions too. I mentioned this kind of at the beginning, kind of my professional services team talks about the trade portal being really one of the ways or best ways to determine how efficient a home builder is working. So I'm just going to ask real quick, agree or disagree? And Josh, I'm going to start with you only because you were last on the last one.
Oh, what am I agreeing or disagreeing to?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
If you agree the trade portal, by looking at how effectively that's being used, does it help determine the efficiencies or inefficiencies of an organization? Is that even fair for me to say?
Absolutely. I think it definitely it tells you how successful your business is going to be and how efficient it's going to be if the trades are buying in, if your individuals are bought in.
Okay, fair enough. That sounds like I've tried to do a loaded question. It really wasn't that, but that's where it is. And let's see, if I'm going backwards, Susanna, I think you'd be second then on that last one.
Yeah, I would agree. It's you're definitely going to know if you, assuming you've done a full rollout, you're going to know immediately whether or not you have efficiencies or not, because if things are running smoothly, you're launching houses, vendors are getting paid on time, you're getting your lien waivers in, things are good. If they're not working quite right, or you still have some inefficiency, you're still inundated in the phone calls and emails.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and I don't think any of us. Well, I shouldn't say that, but I was going to say a lot of times I tell people I don't expect software is going to take away every phone call, and I don't think in this kind of industry you're ever going to have it. But hopefully it'll cut down a lot on that too. And if anybody disagrees with me, I'm up for a fight. Let's go for it. But Lizzie, agree or disagree? Trade portal again. I don't want to beat this too much if you're all going to be the same way and there's not going to be any
agree.
argument.
I mean, that's exactly what they're saying. I mean, at the end of the day, you're still going to get phone calls. You're still going to get an occasional question. You're going to have to repeat yourself. You know, you always have new trades, new, people that come on board. So that's never going to go away, but it definitely does make things way more efficient with even a small percentage of trade partners on the portal.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Christopher, any dissension from that? I don't need, if you want to.
Yeah. We're in the business of building homes, and everyone needs to be on.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, like I said, if you're all going to say it, then don't get any arguments or anything. That's fine, Andy. So let's just talk about kind of trades bringing on. And I always think it's kind of nice to bring this up front for I guess up front right away. Let's get the elephant out of the room. One of the things we hear from builders at times is there's a fee for the ITK for the trade partners. And there are some builders go, boy, I just can't set that on my trades, or I can't ask them, or we just have trades that flat out won't pay price. And I'm just kind of curious, if you have a lot of you I know have a lot of trades on and you're doing it, how do you approach that when a trade partner comes to you and says, hey, there's a fee for doing business with you? And Christopher, I'm going to start with you if you don't mind on that too. How do you just say tough, or how's that addressed with the trades?
Surprisingly, we haven't gotten much pushback, but when there has been, we ask them how much does it cost them for a dry run. So if they're showing up not per schedule or not following the schedule, they could be wasting valuable time. It could cost them $100 to $200. So the cost of doing business, it's much more efficient for them if they're trying to scale. So you break it down that way, the majority of them have no issues on the cost.
All right, great. Yeah, and Mandy, I'll get to your question. Thank you for putting that in there. Lizzie, your thoughts on that? Do you have any pushback on that, or how do you handle something like that?
A lot of times what we do, with those is we also analyze the trade partner. If it's not a trade partner that's going to be, like we've got tub repairs, it's such a small number. I'm not going to, have them pay, fees for something that is going to be more than what they actually get paid throughout the year. So there are some, caveats to it where we make that decision, on a case-by-case scenario. But it is part of our trade partner package. At the end of the day, the expectation is everybody is supposed to be on the portal. Everybody should be using the portal. Everybody should be operating out of the portal, and the tools are all provided. So, obviously there's always room for an exception, with everything that you do. And that's how we, we address those. And it's the same, same thing as Christopher said. We ask them, the amount of money that it takes to, send us the invoices, what does that cost you? That right there is another big, item of that back and forth FedExing, so on and so forth. It definitely does sell itself.
Good. Yeah. And Mandy had put a question. I don't know if you all can see the questions or not when it comes up. I never know from the panelist side of things, but you answered Mandy's question there. How do you handle those smaller contractors with very few orders on that? So are you, is that more calling, texting, email type of thing, just because they're, onesie twosie type of contractors that don't have much? Is that how you're handling that now?
Yeah, and they would be an invoice trade as far as payment goes, because we do mandate, all of our trades that do use the portal, they have to request payment in order for the CMs to approve the payment. So that those checks and balances are implemented, so if you really want to get paid, you've got to be on the portal. And then, like I said, you have to get that, granted approval to not be, that type of a trade, portalets. That's another big one where they're a bigger, corporation that we're dealing with that's just on a monthly basis that really can't be on a PO driven thing.
Gotcha. And I wanted to point this out because you mentioned something not everybody knows it's on here. I'm just going to show this real quick. This is our ITK. If you're not on Mark Systems, this is what you're talking about, that request payment button. Is that correct? Yep. I think you can see that. Yeah. So not everybody enables this. Is just something you can do that the trades get on. And like you said, they have to come in and have to physically request payment to get paid. So sorry, I just wanted to stop sharing that screen, but all right. Susanna, you have anybody that says, no, I'm not paying? And if they do, what do you do? And do you have exceptions too?
Yeah. I mean, we require that all of our trades use the ITK, and I believe it is part of our master trade agreement. But of course, there are exceptions to that. So like Lizzie was saying, if there's somebody that is such a small organization, isn't cost effective for them, or they don't have a large enough book of business with us that it isn't cost effective for them to maintain a subscription to the ITK, well then, okay. And it's incidental stuff, it's less production type stuff, then okay. Yeah, and the other end of that is, I guess, say you're a big appliance company that services thousands of builders, maybe, and you're just not going to get on board with it. Well, then, okay, we get it. We need your appliances still. So
ours is.
Yeah.
Whirlpool is on our portal.
Yeah. So yeah, we make exceptions where we are forced or where it makes sense to do that. But for the most part, we do require that our trades utilize the portal.
Very nice. Josh, do you find when, the different folks you work with, even on, I know you do some consulting too, but whenever you've talked to different folks too, it seems funny to me, I guess, a little bit that, sometimes you can get people that are upset by that. And I always say they're usually the ones sitting there, drinking Starbucks coffee, complaining about the, whatever that price is per month or something like that. And that was it's just kind of funny to me. I just thought, I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I really like Christopher's approach. It was a collaborative approach. What's the cost of a dry run? I think when you can put it in terms that the trades understand, and you can say, well, if a cost of a dry run is $50,000 person plus a truck driving to every job every day, then the price of admission for ITK is really nothing, right?
Yeah.
So then the next thing is show them how your superintendents or whatever you're calling the individuals in the field owning the schedule. How are they managing the schedule? Are they updating it? Are the schedules accurate? Are you paying for dry runs when the superintendent made a mistake? If you're doing all of those things, then it's a collaborative environment, and I think people are more inclined to get on board. The really great thing that I love about ITK is the transparency. I love the data. I love hearing Susanna talk about going from controller to this side because of the data. Data is the future of our industry, and the more we focus on the data and the numbers, the better our business gets. So the data at the fingertips of the trade. Hey, the job has been completed, it's updated in ITK, and it's ready to be paid. I don't have to call anybody and say, hey, am I in line to be paid? No, I can now see it. I believe that's still the case, right? That's how it was last time I used it.
Yep.
So having that level of transparency as a small mom and pop trade partner, man, that's game changing, knowing how much money you have coming to you. Now, the builder paying it at the time they're supposed to pay it, that's a different discussion, but at least I know I'm in line to be paid.
Yeah, and I love what you said, and it's timely because it was kind of bringing into the next discussion. And Jonathan, and I apologize if I say your last name is Ruck, I think Ruck, just put in there, and is exactly what I was going to say. Let's put some of the onus. The onus really does fall back on us as builders, right? Because schedules don't, and John, I'm going to read here, says the properly set up schedule is only as good as the super updating, and they get feedback from trades that schedule dates either move or are not reliable. Christopher, I want to bring you in on this because I know you were at one of our purchasing roundtables there before, and I know how you handle this too. How do you ensure that the schedules are up to date there at Esperanza Homes with your superintendents? Like, if I remember correctly, I think you have a certain policy or something on that.
The full-time job to checking, but we have reports showing it. So our superintendents need to update by 2 p.m. every day. Because if we have one that updates at 5 p.m. And another that updates at 10 a.m., that's not fair to our trade partners. So we tell trade partners, trade partners and suppliers to check their schedule after 2 p.m. Each day, and whatever's shown for the next day after 2 p.m., that's locked in. And then we have a report that is polling live updates from when the superintendents are checking start or complete in ITK, and we're able to see if anyone's updating after 2 p.m. And by doing that and showing our trade partners that we're tracking them, it has allowed for greater trust with the trade partners on relying on that schedule. They're able to see which superintendents are updating the most after 2 p.m. And so if they see that, they're probably going to be less reliant on those guys' schedules.
I love a couple of things you said on there. I mean, number one is, again, the consistency of the 2 p.m. A lot of folks say, we work a lot of builders that, maybe do 25 to 50 homes a year, and they have 2 superintendents, and they think it's a little bit too tough to be able to maintain. I don't know if you remember, how many homes a year did you say you did? You're over 800, is that correct?
It'd be 800.
Yeah, over 800 homes, and they're making it work. So for folks who have 2 superintendents or one to go, I just can't keep up. There's some proof here too, and I know you're not the only one on here too. Lizzie, do you have anything kind of similar to that? Like, do you have a certain time when folks have to do it, or how are you kind of keeping an eye on whether supers are keeping up to date or not?
Well, the schedule will tell itself. The trades will tell, it automatically, that we don't have a as detailed reporting as Christopher does. But at the end of the day, it's that accountability. We know that they can rely on that information based on what that CM is doing. And they kind of know it, they judge it. Those CMs that aren't updating those schedules, those trades are now going to choose, the other trade partner, or the other CM from that area, to make sure that they're jumping on that job site versus the other. It's really just it kind of takes care of itself, for the most part, because they will work with what they see is accurate, and so that's where those CMs are going to learn pretty quickly that, all right, I'm going to trust, CM1 versus CM2, because he's always telling me I'm going to update, but it's not updated. And it's usually at 5 o'clock every day. That's just a common courtesy to plan your, next, day or two. But yeah, it's all, pretty self-sufficient.
Good. No, and I love kind of what you said on there too, a little bit where Christopher said even if one person does it 5 too. Josh, we talk about this a lot of times too, as we say, if you have multiple superintendents out there that are working, and you have anyone who would say, don't worry about the computer, just listen to me, I'm going to call you direct, the heck with that too. I tell the superintendents all the time, you're kind of kicking everybody on your team in the butt. If one of you is not doing it, the chain is broken. Thoughts on that?
It's actually bigger than that. You're screwing up the entire community, not just your builder. Like, don't be selfish. My builder's the only one. The trades are working for every builder. So if you're not following your system and scheduling, you're messing up every single builder in the market, which is then messing up that trade. And I think when Christopher was saying 800 homes and you got X number of supers, the reality is you only have one home at a time and one activity that you can schedule. So what we're doing is we're overcomplicating it. So keep it simple, one home, one activity at a time, schedule your stuff out. And if you do that for 2 weeks, right, back in the old days, we had a 2-week look ahead. The next 2 weeks were locked in and built. So every day it's just one more day you're adding to it. If you do that old school way and build it into the computer, this stuff is really, really simple. We're just overcomplicating it. But the more that we invest in it, the more that our peers are investing in it, the better our trades get, the more efficient we get. We can lower our prices, we can be more competitive, and we can be really successful in a slowing market.
Yeah, and the more accurate you are, the more people want to work with you and not the builder down there that's not together on that too.
Yeah, and that's a really good one, because the trades will tell you who's screwing up. You just have to listen to them. And where we go wrong is a lot of builders, some builders will ignore what the trades are saying. You got a trade partner council, they're saying, hey, Superintendent XYZ doesn't update the schedule. Oh yeah, you're just full of crap. No, we got to listen to that. We got to look at the data, verify it, use Christopher's example, dig into it and be like, hey, why is his job's always falling behind? Why is he always over budget? What do you mean the trades are saying this? Oh, the data's telling this, the people are telling us this, we got a problem, let's fix this.
Mm-hmm. Great. Thank you so much for that. I was just looking at, came in, thanking you for the input. Jonathan was saying that, said, assume schedules take advantage of the predecessor feature. Hopefully, if you're setting up your schedules, yes, you have that kind of critical path method taking place on it. How to tie down a date when a task comes up to hold that task date. So that gets into a little bit. I don't want to get too deep into the woods on that, Jonathan. I appreciate that. Would love to talk to you on that. That's one of the biggest errors I see when I go into train superintendents on how they're using those checkboxes on our ITK. Suzanne, I was out at your operation last week. You took us up on the opportunity to train both superintendents for part of the day and your trades for part of the day. And I think you can probably, a couple of your folks there probably learned a few. I'm hoping they did, because I'm on, in public saying it.
It was enlightening, those little check marks and how they drive the schedules. But yeah.
So what is your thought, Susanna, while I'm talking to you too, on training? I mean, you had me out there on that. And how often do you think it needs to be done for supers and or trades, either way? I mean, supers make sure the schedules are accurate, and that might be an unfair question to ask, but that's okay.
That's okay. So going back to kind of the point that Josh was making about the schedules, yeah, it's a lot of front end work. But if you roll up your sleeves, put it in the front end work, and then when you roll it out, you think you have a problem, or you just want to test it and audit yourself, take your mobile device, your Surface Pro, your iPad, phone, whatever you're using to run the schedules, go out to the job sites, compare the house you're looking at with your mobile device. If there's a discrepancy, you have a problem. And also, I think everyone said that your trades are going to let you know when there's a problem, and you need to listen to them. So those two things, it's going to help you nail down your schedules, because it could be that there's a flaw in your schedule, or that maybe your superintendents or someone in your back office, need some additional training. But yeah, Brad, when your team was out last week, I mean, it like I said, it was enlightening. I could see the light bulbs going on. Coming on and saying like, oh, well, we didn't realize we could do that, or we didn't realize that because we did X, it was impacting, maybe the trades or someone in our back office or what have you, So, the last time we did it was in the ITK training was a couple of years ago. We did that in our South Carolina division. And I stand by it. I wish we had done it years ago, because I think it really helped us. And we're actually looking to do it again, I think, in our South Carolina division sometime in 2026. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Keep me in mind. I'll go to South Carolina. It's kind of beachy as well. Sorry.
Beach.
Sorry, folks. Had to get that one in there. So, well, good. I love hearing that. I want to just make sure I'm getting a couple of the other things. See if any questions came in. See you, Robert. Thanks for coming as well. I had to go too. So let's talk a little bit about. We talked about how you can get folks to go in there. I know, Lizzie, you're using the request pay button that gets them in there a lot of times. Christopher, you're using kind of just, hey, this is a requirement. You have a lot of report driven type of things too. One of the things I've found that you can tell as a builder is how often or not a trade partner is logging into, again, I'm speaking ITK, folks. If you're not on ITK, I'm sorry. It's just kind of a little bit focused on that too, but you can see the records that come in. And I want to share here, if I can find this here, because a lot of folks don't necessarily know what this does. Hang on a second, screen 3 here. So I'm talking about the dashboards here from the vendor side of things. And I'm not going to go into detail. I'm not training on ITK. But a lot of people don't necessarily know, you can come in here and be able to see reasons you're not getting paid. This is a rolling schedule based on the next 7 days, or that should have been done by now. Obviously, I'm not building for any of you because I have some of these from 2019 as this vendor. I blame COVID. I'm still blaming it. So anyway, those type of things. Changes in work orders and purchase orders and service orders and things like that. But if you didn't know, you can actually log in. And this is one of the reasons why I think a portal is nice. And take some of your ideas. You have the ability to do some emailing directly out of Mark systems, at least for work orders, purchase orders, service orders. And some of our builders say, well, if they do that, why even go to the portal? We'll get into that in a little bit. But I think from this point is that why I always tell folks the nice thing about a portal is you can see if they've logged in or if they haven't logged in, because you can see their last login from the admin side of things. So if they go, hey, I never got that, you have the ability to say, we haven't logged in for 3 weeks, or something like that. Whereas an email, they can say, I not got an email, and I don't know how you ever prove they got an email or not. And a lot of our builders do a little of both. Christopher, are you emailing out of the system or not, and why or why not?
We turned that off 2-3 years ago because we found that our big suppliers were saying, screw ITK, we're just getting the emails and the POs, and we're going to show up for the PO. So we turned off the email function, and they have to log in if they see their PO.
Okay, fair. Lizzie, your thoughts on that?
Agreed. Same exact. They get too comfortable with the emails coming to them. They don't go to the tool that they need to see the latest and greatest update.
Cool. And we'll show you a couple other things. Susanna, same with you, or do you have email on or off?
I don't think we have it on, because if we did, we would have that problem where some of our subs and our trades would not be logging into the portal.
Okay, good. Josh, I'm not going to ask if you are, because I know right now you're on our build tools software too in terms of that. So I won't ask you on that just because it won't work with what we have. So don't feel bad. I don't feel bad or anything on that too. No, good. I think that's good to hear. I did have someone ask how do you suggest we train our trade partners to use the portal? Okay, and how often do they do check-ins? So how often do you do check-ins on the portal? I'm thinking, Bob, you mean how often should the trades check their portal for the builder? Is that what you're asking on that? Or is that in how often should you do check-ins with your trades to do training? I want to make sure I get that. I would suggest you have, I don't want to suggest this. I want to ask from some of you, how often, Susanna, we'll come over to you. How often do you typically think it should be done that you trade partners with turnover and things like that? Or how do you do it as you get new people in?
Well, I mean, I just created a simple little report that we run for all of our ITK login profile types. So we can track superintendent logins, vendor logins, vendor restricted logins, so on and so forth, and see. So if we have a problem, we're like, well, yeah, XYZ, painting company hasn't logged in. Maybe that's why they're not showing up, or maybe that's why they're not doing, we've got a performance issue with them. So we kind of mind it that way, but really, I mean, I would think you'd want to check on that at least quarterly.
Okay.
If not more frequently.
Josh, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think if you're talking about like trade partner training, I would think quarterly is probably the right tempo. I would think for trades checking their schedule and checking their dashboard, I would think once a week is probably good. And I would probably do it twice a week, once at the end and then once in the very beginning to make sure nothing's changed. And then I would say anything that changes within like 5 days, I need a phone call or I need something like more immediate. You can't rely on me checking at the last minute.
Okay, now Christopher, what are your thoughts on that? Once or twice a week? Because I know you're daily, I believe. Is that correct?
Twice a day for us, and we do that because we're requiring them to complete the checklist themselves as trade partners. So they need to be logged in twice a day, once in the morning, once in the afternoon. And training, right now we're about once a year as group trainings, bringing individual trade partners in for individual training. But have a focus on bringing that up to quarterly trainings on at least the ones that are not utilizing it to the max.
Okay, Lizzie, any different thoughts from you?
Pretty much the same. I mean, we're a little different to where we have purchasing managers that are in our different regions. So those trade partners know that they can go to them, immediately for a little bit more one-on-one training on an as-needed basis, especially if there is some turnover or anything of that nature. But it's the same thing as far as, making sure that they have the tools, making sure they have the manuals, making sure they have the recorded training, that ECI has, on the website. And a lot of that falls back to, when they start asking those questions, we provide those, see if they have any additional questions, once that's been provided.
Gotcha. And Lizzie, I know you have some trades that are Spanish speaking. I imagine some of you others do too. And if I can say it, I got a manual, a Spanish version of the manual from Lizzie herself at 1.2. So she actually had an ITK vendor manual, one in English and one in Spanish. Is that correct?
Correct.
Cool.
Yep.
I can't verify if it was accurate. I don't speak Spanish, but just assume so. Those type of things. So real cool on that end too. I just thought that's a really neat way to do that. And yeah, coming in, whether you do that trade training, for those who are asking, just so you know, again, a little self-serving, but there are things that ECI does that we send someone out to do that training with you. That's exactly what Susanna did last week. We came in, we did super training and trade in the same day. Some of our larger builders have trades where they do one in the morning, one in the afternoon, kind of grab lunch in it. So that's something that we can take a peek at on that too. And let's see if I got anything there. Someone's asking, Rachel's asking, is there a way to have trades upload lien releases to ITK? Not as of now. Could it be coming? Maybe. I think I've seen something like that on our ideas portal as Mark Systems goes over from the current Mark Systems desktop over to the web-based. We're going to see some things start to open up as that happens. So hold tight on that. But what you saw on my screen, Rachel, is they can get them from way up here, print them out, and right now they do have to kind of bring that back in. But thank you for that question too. Cindy, I might be able to get a version of that Spanish manual to you, maybe a couple years old, because when I got it from Lizzie a couple years ago and said, do you mind if I steal it and she let me, but she's probably updated it, but I'll be happy to get that to you. Other than that, look up Lizzie. She might, you never know. Okay, cool.
Maybe.
Yeah. Do any of you, are you giving access with your trades to their contract list and material price list? Do you have them see theirs on their portal? Or is there anybody that doesn't? I don't know. So again, I just like to show this out for folks who don't know. This is one of the things that you can have them see their different pricing on here. And really, I always thought it was great. Again, this is something they can't get via email. This is pulling directly from what's in the purchasing side of the Mark Systems. I think the onus then falls on the trade to say, look at that number. So if you go, why are you paying me, I'll just come up with one of these, $5,200 for this framing, and these prices are old, I know, because that's what's exhibited. Is that how, do any of you handle that differently, or is that how you look at it? Is the onus on them to say, if that's wrong, tell me, and I'll let any of you jump in if you want to. Usually when I do it, nobody jumps in.
Oh, I'll jump in. Onus is on the trades. We do our stage releases, POs and work orders go out. Log into the portal, check your pricing. Something's inaccurate, you better be calling one of our purchasing managers to get it straightened out. Otherwise, it's too late.
Yeah, fair enough. And I don't know if you noticed back there, I probably didn't notice on there, you can actually put specs and those types of things in here that they can pull up on that too. Are you doing that? Are any of you uploading copies of their specification sheets or anything like that?
We have some, but it's all through the vendor master file stuff.
Cool. All right. No worries. We talked a little bit about this before, and I don't want to get down here, but I just like folks to know the request payment. Again, this feature here, if a trade, we all know trades are very good tradespeople. A lot of them are are really good business people, but there's some that just aren't, and it's just not their thing. They go, hey, I'm out working and want to be able to kind of follow along. So we have some builders, and I don't know if it's any of you in here. I say this, and then someone will go, hey, that's us, that tell their trades, if you call our accounting office and ask us questions or purchasing, that you can get off the ITK $250 charge. Let's make up a number. And I say that sometimes, and builders kind of giggle a little bit, but I say, if you think about it, a lot of that time you're spent kind of getting those phone calls, if they can get it from here, whether it's what's on that purchase order, did it get approved, whatever, or even the payment history where they can go in and say, what was on that $224,000 check? And they can print the stuff out here as a PDF and say, this is everything we're paid on it. Do any of you have anything like that where, again, I don't care dollar wise, do you have a thing, or is that too draconian? And you can say it, it's okay, I don't care. Chris, I'm going to ask you, because I know you're getting close to being the end here. before you have to hop off?
We don't have any charge, but if they reach out, we direct them to the portal. And if they need training, we'll bring them in. But all questions regarding POs or payments is just directing them to the portal. If there's a discrepancy on a PO, we need them to email it over and we'll take a look at it. But other than that, no.
Awesome. And I'm just going to ask you one or two, because I know, like I said, you have to go on here too. Are you using right now, and the rest of you, I'm going to bring you, I'm going to have you as he's jumping off, the notifications here for either non-payment? I'm trying to get my little go-to out of the way. Come on, get out of the way here. All right. For like non-payment reasons, are you doing any of that, and schedule exceptions and or work acknowledgement? Christopher, I'm just going to ask you.
Exception, yes.
So the schedule
Yes.
exception?
Yep. And the non-payment, we did have, I don't recall if I still have that on, but the exceptions we do have, because the trade partner can respond and can go back and forth and send them the messenger pretty much. So we are doing all exceptions, and that allows us to utilize the exceptions if one activity is delayed and another activity is pushing out, just to notify the trade partner that their start date got pushed.
Okay, I just wanted to see if you were using it. Are you doing the work acknowledge at all?
We are not doing the work acknowledgement.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, I just wanted to see it on that. And like you said, you can have some schedule exceptions here where you can say, hey, you've caused that exception, and more or less it's, to have them notify that, hey, someone is keeping an eye on this too. And you're right, you can do some replies in here and kind of say yay or nay or whatever on that end too. Love it as well. I want to give you any last minute, Christopher, before you have to go, anything in general you'd like to just, say for the doubters out there who think you can really get trades on here?
It takes time, but it's worth every second that you put into it. By having the consistent scheduling, you're able to manage your team better, the trade partners, and bring your cycle time down. So I highly recommend it, and always happy to answer any questions or help out.
Great. Thank you so much. Like I said, I know you need to go. You're welcome to stay for the extra 2 minutes, but I know your next one starts in 2 minutes, so up to you. But thank you so much. As always,
I'm gonna jump off.
All right.
I appreciate it, Brad.
See you later.
Bye.
Yeah. All right, the folks, you're going to have to hold up the end now here as well. So I know it's tough. You guys have some good things too. Lizzie, any of the notifications you're using right now or not using?
It was the same as Christopher. We're not doing the work acknowledgement, but we are doing the exceptions and the non-payment reasons.
Okay. Any reasons why the new work? I'm just kind of curious. Like is it not useful really, or what?
On the acknowledgement dynamic?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A lot of it just has to do with the volume that we work with and the variation of regions that we work with. We just have not been able to get that on a streamlined, process.
Yeah, no worries. That's it. Not everybody uses all parts of it. Suzanne, are you using this at all? Any of them?
The pay reasons and the schedule exceptions, yes. Yeah. And well, much like Lizzie just said, we haven't been good about examining what the work acknowledgements can do for us. It's not to say that we won't ever do that, but yeah, that's how we're utilizing, or the pieces we're utilizing.
Cool. Okay, Carrie. Yeah, that's right. Carrie asked, do trades, or do they have to be given access to the contract listing, or is it automatic? That depends on where your contract is held. A lot of people, if you do it up in your parent company, you may have to give that trade access to the parent company, parent development, if that's where they're at. You may go, oh my gosh, I don't want them in there. It's just view only. They can't really, it's not like they can do anything, but if that's where your pricing is, that's where you want to give them access, and that's in the setup. So hopefully that can answer that question for you too. Scheduling wise, push or no push? Do you know what your company is on? And then I'm going to end with Josh over here to ask if he has a preference one way or the other. Any of you know what I'm talking about? Push or no push? Lizzie, which are you on? Do you know? Push? Okay. Susanna, do you know?
We're on non-push.
Non-push? Okay. Josh, thoughts, or do you know what I'm talking about when I say push or no?
Yeah,
push?
what was the difference? I remember it from back in my days using ITK, but I don't recall now.
Yeah. So push schedule, we know the critical path item is there, right?
Yeah.
And it moves if the completion date moves. The difference between push and no push is it still works on that critical path, but if today is October 28th and the rough plumbing is set to finish today, and I don't mark it finished today on a push schedule, I come back tomorrow, it's now going to say, oh, 10/29 is the finish, and everything in the critical path will move along unless there's check boxes on those start dates, which is one of the errors I see. In a no push, if 10/28, the end of the day comes down and I don't mark it complete, tomorrow it's still going to say 28th and the next rough in or whatever is going to say tomorrow. Thoughts on which one? I'll tell you my thoughts one way or the other. And
yeah, I like it to keep rolling because I want to keep the pressure on the superintendents to make sure that they're updating their schedule timely. You and I disagree on the check mark. And I'll just tell you my reasoning, and then Brad can tell you why I'm wrong. I'm old school, so I would build my schedule for 2 weeks in advance, and by building it, I would confirm it with trades. So yes, it's in my schedule, but it was also confirmed. So they said it's done. That's the only time I would check the box. So then I didn't have to think about, is this confirmed or is it just done? And the reason I did that, I know this is kind of a workaround, was because I was getting the trades bought into the system and bought into, we follow the schedule. When we say it's ready, it's ready. And that was the reason that I was doing it. So early days when you're getting them on board, that's where the check boxes was critical for me.
Okay, fair enough. Yep, and I'm just trying to see if I can find a schedule on my So we're talking about those who don't know is these check boxes here.
Yes.
So I'm as Josh said, I'm of the opinion is you don't really put this checkbox until it's officially started, because once you do that, the system's kind of saying, oh, it is officially started. It will not move that start date, even if it's a critical path item, right? And yeah, I'd say you can do this, and maybe 2 weeks you're okay doing that for the 2 weeks, if in fact they will start 100% of the time, all the time, every time, or 98% of the time. You might be okay with it, but the minute something changes, weather, whatever, you're manually doing some stuff. That's all I mean on that.
And that's 100% right. So this is not a one time and forget it. It's every single day you're verifying things. And when I'm walking in the morning, the plumber's supposed to start and they're not there. Well, you don't wait to the end of the day. You're on the phone as you're walking to the next one. Hey, what the heck are you doing? You're supposed to be here today. Oh, we had something come up. Now I can adjust that schedule and I can let other trades know before they make those dry runs. So it is an active process. I think a schedule is a living document that you've got to be nurturing constantly. And once everybody gets bought into what they're doing, it'll start working itself. But I've seen people, this is where I think people really go wrong. They'll have 65 days checked. And I'm like, how in the heck do you know the next 65 days this is going to work? You don't have, what about the rain days? Oh, I baked rain days into my assumption. You don't bake rain days in. There are no rain days. Every single day is a day of production until it's a rain day. Yeah. You don't plan for a rain day. That's a mistake.
Yeah. Yep. Don't build it. Lizzie, what are your thoughts on the start? You like putting them in? Or?
So I actually train it both ways, because you do have, obviously different people do things differently. You do have some of, those that are used to the old paper and pencil, and that's how they operate, and, and vice versa. The thing that I try to encourage is more of a 3 to 5 day. If you're going to use a lock-in for those start dates, try to keep it within a 3 to 5 day period, so at least you're not having to uncheck so many items to allow the schedule to recalculate for itself. But exactly like Josh said, I mean, you have to stay on top of your schedule. So if you're doing those, let's say 5 days, don't go back into that schedule on the 5th day to make your adjustments. You need to be in that schedule every day, and even like Christopher said, twice a day, making sure that those items are, as accurate as they possibly can. And you could use those check marks to your advantage and disadvantage. And then obviously my next step to it, and I don't know if you were going to go this way, Brad, but exceptions are another huge element. Using those exceptions to explain why you're pushing things out or pulling things in is another true critical path to keeping those lines of communication. I preach to the CMs all the time. If and we learned it with COVID too, where somebody would get sick and then you had to go find somebody's book, to go figure out what their schedule was. Well, this should be your book. This should be your holy grail to what's going on that job site. Your trade partners, your CMs, your project managers, your executive team, anybody should be able to open up the schedule and say, oh, that's why we had 5 days delay on that job because of rain.
Yeah. No, great point on that too. And a lot of folks, you're right. If they hadn't been trained, they're used to coming in here and going, okay, maybe this did start. And then they change a date just by coming down here and putting a date in. Yeah, your dates might be accurate, but if it went to the 31st, I go, great, it's closed and it's telling me it's in the future. And I say it's done on the 31st, so I update it. Again, number one, I wouldn't do this because I'm saying it's done before it's done. But let's just say they did that or whatever. But you don't really have any reason why the change made. You just know it was a different date. Yeah, your dates are done. Instead, exactly as you're saying, using the exceptions button. For up to me and I were the programmer, I'd call this the CYA button all day long, because that's exactly what it is. And that's how I train my supers. Suzanne knows I did this last week. I say, this button basically says, well, why did it move back? Because from the superintendent side, if it's 84 lumber in this case is causing the exception, you want to be able to say, hey, as of today's date, they didn't show up, and they didn't show up because nobody showed, and whatever reason, decided to go elsewhere, whatever. You're putting this stuff in here and it lost us 2 days, because what that's doing is it's giving management and your company real-time data to say, hey, 84 lumber, you keep messing up my schedule. If I didn't do this, and the supers do just by changing here, they can say it, but there's nothing quantifiable there. So I think that's a great point. And when and you can do that negative, like you were saying, Lizzie, move it up. I can put negative days and move it sooner too. So very so good.
I think that's an important point though, Brad, because when we start talking about 800 homes, or more simply, if you're talking about individuals running 20 and 30 homes, it sounds overwhelming. Well, I was self-diagnosed with CRS. Can't remember. Remember that last word. And when you think of that and you input the data in here, I no longer have to think about it. I don't have to write it down. I don't have to remember it anymore. And then my boss says, what the heck happened on job XYZ? I'm like, I don't remember. Let me go look in my system. Oh yeah, here it is right here. This is what happened. And now it all comes back. The system helps you do that to where we don't have to remember everything from every job.
Yeah, or pulling out their tablets and all that kind of stuff, trying to figure out. You're right. It's there.
Was it a text message? Was it an email? Was it a walk by? How did I communicate that? Well, you already noted it, so you're fine.
Yep.
Exactly.
You got it. Hey, we're coming up to the top of the hour, folks. So I want to kind of wrap this up real quick. Yes, Cindy, this if you're registered and all, you should get a recording of this. So great. Yep, you can share it with anybody on that point too. I don't know if it comes a day from now or an hour. It'll come out though to you, and if not, drop me a line. But I know a lot of folks talk about trades that go, oh, I have trades that are not advanced enough to be on the ITK. At one point I know I would have said that building too, but heck, I also knew 10 years ago I had Amish framers that were texting me and doing some different things. So there are folks are a little bit more on that, but I think they're getting. So I want to ask kind of a final question. I always do this as a yes/no question. And I'm just going to have you answer yes or no, and then we're going to find out if you're accurate or full of it or something like that. So I have the ultimate answer here too. So I'm just going to ask you a yes, no. Do you think trades' reluctance to technology is going to drop in the next 5 years? I'm just going to say it that way. And Suzanne, I'll start with you. Yes,
yeah.
No?
With all of the AI talk that everybody is hearing about these days, I mean, that getting on the ITK and is the easy thing. You know what I mean? In the context of all technology that's happening in the world.
Okay. So you're saying yes. Yes, it's going to reluctance. Yes. Josh, thoughts?
I'm a no.
No. You think they're going to be stubborn, huh? Okay.
I think they're gonna remain stubborn.
Okay. Lizzie, you want to do a breaking or?
I was gonna say, you think trades are going to be stubborn to go on the ITK?
Or just the technology, yeah.
Yeah, no, technology is unfortunately, for those that don't like it, it's the way, it's what we're all moving forward towards. I mean, yes, we are in an industry that is the least technology driven possible. But it's only a matter of time. I mean, as those generations, you know, come up, I mean, I communicate with my 12-year-old via text message. I can't talk to him any other way because he won't talk to me. So it's only a matter of time before those generations keep coming in, and it's all it is. I mean, I train CMs and they're training with me like this,
Gotcha,
working
yeah.
through ITK on their phones. So
you're saying yes, reluctance is going.
totally, yeah. All day, yes.
All right. Well, we're going to find out who's right, and I use the official answer of all. We're going to ask the yes, no, and see what happens. And this one I can actually see. Better not tell. Oh, that's a cop out answer. Better not tell you now. That's pretty cop out. So still is yet to be determined. You're all safe on that one too. So. Hey, folks, I want to thank you all for being part of this. Thank you, the three of you here, and Christopher, even though he's off on off to his next meeting. Thanks so much for taking your time, your expertise. Folks out there, thank you for your time. Your conversations was great. I loved having the questions. Do you have any questions on anything? You need help with your trades? Connect. If you want to connect with some of these people, I'll make sure I ask them so they don't have to do it on screen. I'll say, hey, is it okay if I connect you with anybody? I won't do it now. You don't say okay. But at that case, if you want to talk to them and say, man, they're doing it with several hundred homes a year, you know, we can do it too. I'd be happy to, as long as they're okay. It looks like they are. So, folks, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much. I'm not sure if I have anything scheduled for next month or yet, because it'll be the Tuesday right before Thanksgiving, and probably everybody's going to be in turkey mode that time here in the US. So, but look for your emails if something's out there. So other than that, thank you all. Have a great rest of the year. See ya. And I got to hit all the buttons till it goes.